What's up, everybody? Welcome to Clapback Culture. It is another beautiful Thursday. I am your co-host, Julia Jessie with Converge Media, alongside my co-host, Mr. Mike Davis. Mike Davis, your name isn't up there today.
Oh
It
man,
just
I don't know what's going on. Probably because I'm in studio. I didn't get to type it myself.
okay. Well, welcome, Mike. Happy Thursday. How's it going, brother?
Oh, it's a good Thursday. It's all nice out here in Seattle. It's a good day.
Oh, was it nice today?
It was nice today.
Okay. Seattle's just like when it's sunny and warm, it's like the best place to be. I always tell people like this is like some of the best time of the year to come visit the town. So I got to bring some people out there to come visit Seattle. It's one of my
You gotta
favorite
do it.
places.
And we need you back in the studio too. We gotta arrange that visit.
I know, man. I got a lot of things cooking here, so I have to stay 10 toes down here for a quick minute. I got some things unraveling, but I will be there sooner than later for sure. So,
Good.
but yeah. So look, we have a good show tonight. I love the show topics tonight. This is going to be one of our warmer shows. I think sometimes our show, we have to report on some of the bad news, some of the dark side news. But today we have a little bit of good news, especially with the new CDC announcement that vaccinated people don't have to wear masks. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys about that. We're definitely going to talk about Liz Cheney speaking out to the media after the removal from her leadership role. Ohio's doing a new thing, Mike, where $1 million is going to be given out in a lottery to 5 lucky Ohioans. So we're going to talk about that. Now that we're trying to normalize and get back to the workforce, an Arizona restaurant company is coming up with some incentive plans to offer people free college tuition to some of their workers. We do got to talk about this gas pipeline hack. And I heard that Colonial Pipeline had to go ahead and pay those hackers. So we're going to talk about that. And of
Hey Julia,
course,
is that affecting you down there in DC?
it
Because I don't think
is.
it's that as big on the West Coast.
It isn't, but it is affecting because of where the pipeline is. So yeah, I'm
Right.
absolutely affected. The lines around the gas station was crazy. So hopefully things will get back to normal. I had a full tank of gas, so I wasn't like super affected. But now
Don't
I'm
tell
at
me you was hoarding. You was out there hoarding the gas.
people are hoarding the gas like they're hoarding the toilet paper. So it's crazy. So we'll
Americans.
definitely talk into that. And we'll close our show giving you some information about the Georgia governor repealing the citizen arrest law, which is coming at the tail end of the arrest made on the Ahmaud Arbery case. So we got a full show. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's go ahead and start from the top. Let's talk about Liz Cheney. This was some beef today that just like really got started. So House Republicans voted yesterday to remove Representative Liz Cheney from the number 3 position in caucus leadership after she vocally rebuked and called out former President Donald Trump. The vote to oust Representative Cheney basically only took 16 minutes, according to reports. And she came out and made a statement immediately following that decision. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
We have had the conference meeting. I am absolutely committed, as I said last night, as I said just now to my colleagues, that we must go forward based on truth. We cannot both embrace the big lie and embrace the Constitution. And going forward, the nation needs it. The nation needs a strong Republican Party. The nation needs a party that is based upon fundamental principles of conservatism. And I am committed and dedicated to ensuring that that's how this party goes forward, and I plan to lead the fight to do that.
How concerned are you that former President Trump might end up back in the Oval Office, and what are you prepared to do to prevent it?
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. We have seen the danger that he continues to provoke with his language. We have seen his lack of commitment and dedication to the Constitution, and I think it's very important that we make sure whomever we elect is somebody who will be faithful to the Constitution.
Last question. Betrayed by today's vote, Congresswoman, do you feel betrayed by today's vote?
I do not. I think that it is an indication of where the Republican Party is, and I think that the party is in a place that we've got to bring it back from, and we've got to get back to a position where we are a party that can fight for conservative principles, that can fight for substance. We cannot be dragged backward by the very dangerous lies of a former president. Thank you.
So after the vote, she's basically coming out, sticking to her guns. Mike Davis, what do you think about this?
I think there's a lot in what she said in that soundbite right there. But I think the first thing that jumps out at me is the whole idea of Trump being silenced on social media right now. I think that because he's not playing that pivotal role through Twitter, for example, that he used to play, for a lot of us, it kind of seems like Trump is like out of sight, out of mind. But then when you hear this and you see this specific situation where, she condemned Trump and she's speaking against him, and now her party is moving against her, it seems like Trump's hold in the Republican Party is still pretty strong. So I think it's really important that we keep eyes on that. It was also powerful for her to say right now that it's her mission to make sure that Trump never makes it back to the Oval Office. And that takes my mind to a place of, is that something that is planned? And does he have support in the Republican Party still with folks that will be willing to try to bring him back? I mean, he wasn't impeached, so he can come back.
He absolutely can come back. And I think we talked about that a lot, post-election. It's interesting that when we think about ousting Liz Cheney and thinking about, House Republicans, do you guys think this is ultimately a good strategy? Myself, I don't think this is a good strategy. This is, it's going to cause a break in the party. And so you're going to basically lose more supporters, in my opinion, those people who are kind of straddling that fence and saying, yes, I identify as Republican, but I am a non-supporter of Donald Trump. And so I think when you see somebody as powerful and as strong and educated as Liz Cheney is, I mean, she's the daughter of former President Dick Cheney. She's college educated. I mean, she's really a true force to be reckoned with. And I think that women who identify with her are going to say, especially a lot of those suburban women who are straddling the fence and don't have the same beliefs and ideals as a Donald Trump conservative, right? And so I think her stepping out and saying that she's going to lead this fight to restore the party is exactly what Republicans really should be trying to do. So we'll see. I think this is not a good move for the Republican Party to put all their eggs in one basket with Donald Trump.
I agree with that. And it also reminds me of something that always says, which is that when you look at the Democratic Party and, they got to satisfy these people and these people and these people, and there's all these different factions within their party. And then you look at the Republicans and it was just really, really simple. They had their base, their constituency, they knew who they were playing to. But with her stepping out like this, we might really be seeing factions starting to grow within the Republican Party. And if that happens and they start to split,
yeah,
I mean, where will the power actually land? It's going to be interesting to watch it play out.
It is. And so we're seeing some pushback, right? And so we're having, strong House leaders really step in, like Mitt Romney, who tweeted out that, expelling Liz Cheney from leadership won't gain the GOP one additional voter, but it will cost us quite a few. And so I stand firm on that belief. So we'll see what happens. I mean, 2024 is around the corner. So Lord have mercy. I hope we just don't have another Donald Trump presidency, but you never know. You never know. But let's talk a little bit about some more warm and fuzzy. When we talk about good, powerful leadership, I'm thinking Governor DeWine got it in the bag. He initiated and rolled out the Ohio Vax-A-Million initiative. So this is a 5 lucky Ohioans, vaccinated Ohioans. Okay, that sounds right. Will win $1 million each through a new lottery and something they're calling the Vax-A-Million initiative. And this is one of the largest financial and incentive programs that has been announced by a state to combat the declining demand for people to go out and get the vaccine. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced a series of statewide drawings on Wednesday to encourage people to get vaccinated.
And it's pretty incredible. Get a COVID vaccination in the Buckeye State and get a shot at winning $1 million or a free ride at a state university.
Wow.
Seriously? Jason Carr's in the carport with more.
Does it have to be the Ohio State University? Get your vaccine cards ready. The winning numbers are... It's one of the largest financial incentives announced by any state to combat declining vaccinations. As you guys said, starting May 26th, the state, Ohio, will award $1 million each week to an adult who has received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. There will be 5 total drawings, and residents under the age of 18 who are eligible to receive a COVID-19 vaccine will be entered into a drawing for a chance at winning a full 4-year ride to one of the state's universities. It's news that has the entire state and the country talking, while some are as enthused.
I think it's a great opportunity for people not only to get vaccinated, but to make money. It's actually pretty cool.
You know, you shouldn't be incentivized to get something for health purposes. And also, like, if DeWine's going to be giving money to people who have been vaccinated, like, where is that coming from?
You know, DeWine said it will be paid using federal coronavirus funds. The incentives were announced along with news that DeWine is asking the Ohio Department of Health to lift most pandemic health orders come June 2nd.
Mike, how can anyone be against this? This is like, can I go pretend that I didn't get vaccinated so I have a chance to win this meal? Is this too big of an incentive?
Man, I'd be trying to get vaccinated as many times as I possibly can. Is there limits on how many times I could get vaccinated to get in that drawing?
Listen,
especially in Ohio.
Okay, so I think this is an incredible program. It's using COVID relief funds, so it's not like it's costing it. Well, it is going to cost us down the line, but what a great incentive. You don't think people are going to jump out there and go get vaccinated? There are some stipulations. Of course, you have to be 18 and older. And I think that is one of the major requirements, but there's also a few caveats. Oh, no, excuse me. No, there's not. It's that part. You just have to be 18 and older. So starting March 26th, the state will award $1 million each week to an adult who has received at least their first dose of the vaccine. And then they'll have basically 5 total drawings. So 5 people are going to win $1 million each. That's a lot of money to be reinvested. That's a hell of a stimulus check, Mike.
It really is. And I love this idea. I mean, people talk all the time about should we force people to get vaccinated? Should vaccines be required to do this, do that? This is a great way to encourage people to go get vaccinated without actually having to force them. You're trying to get folks to do the right thing, give them some incentive. It's coming out of the COVID relief money. And man, our government spends money every single which way. It's always weird when people say things like, where's the money coming from? And our government prints money when they need it. Find a way to get it to the people. I love this.
Man, you know what? Our audience is not in agreement with us tonight. It seems like a lot of people think this is a terrible idea and that this is a big waste of money. Governor DeWine made a statement. He says, I know that some people may say, you're crazy. This is $1 million drawing idea of yours. It's just a waste of money. The governor said on Wednesday, but he says, truly, the real waste at this point in the pandemic is when the vaccine is readily available to anyone who wants it and a life lost to COVID. So, I mean, he's saying, I don't care. If we gonna do anything, if we're just not going to stand here and not do anything. And so I think we're really at the point where people are just saying, you know what, I'm not trying to go get it, or maybe everybody else is vaccinated. I don't have to get it anymore. So this is a big incentive program. But again, our audience is like, this is bad for business.
About like the U.S. trying to get to the point where we could reach herd immunity And I mean, there's some experts that believe that we're not even going to get there because we've kind of hit this wall. It's like the people that wanted to get vaccinated have, and now it's slowed down. I mean, now we're seeing it open up to younger people. So that's going to kind of pick it up. But I mean, they got to do something to encourage people to get vaccinated because a lot of people just don't want to.
Well, this is also on the heels of the CDC now coming out today saying that fully vaccinated people no longer need to wear a mask or physically social distance, whether indoors or outdoors in most circumstances. So I'm like, we're seeing right now that you are getting privileges to now being vaccinated. So what are your thoughts around the no masks? Are you still masking up? What do you think?
I think I'm a mask up sometimes. Am I gonna mask up all? Absolutely not. I never was a huge fan of the mask. I was willing to do it when the CDC said that we should. The CDC has went back and forth throughout this whole pandemic, so who knows what. But as everybody here knows, I'm vaccinated. So if they're saying it's not a requirement, I'm definitely gonna take my foot off that gas pedal just a little bit. I am interested to know how they know who is and who is not vaccinated. Like, I don't really see clarity in that. It just seems like we're about to get to a place where ain't nobody about to be wearing masks anymore.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're also saying there are still stipulations, like if you're on public transportation, airplanes, things of that nature. I plan to continue to wear my mask when need be. However, I'm definitely ditching the mask as much as possible, as much as I feel safe and comfortable to do so. More than 35% of the population has been fully vaccinated, according to reports of this from the CDC. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm gonna cash in on the fact that I'm fully vaccinated. So one thing to point out, people, to be fully vaccinated, it's a person who is considered 2 weeks post their last dose, right? So that'll give you your immune system like the full antibodies against the virus. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we have to try to get to a point of normalcy. We're seeing now that a lot of people are just ready to get back. And if we're just honest, people really aren't social distancing and wearing their masks according to the guidelines as we were last year this time, right? And so I think the time is now.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is America. I think everybody knows that. This is the land of individualism. Everybody here is an individual. Everybody here thinks about self. We're probably going to jump into that when we talk about these stories we're seeing where people is just hoarding gas. We've seen people hoard toilet paper. Like, Americans are all
Right.
about self. So you're always going to have the people who was never going to be down to wear a mask because they didn't care about you. They didn't care about your grandma. That's
Yeah.
just what it is in America. So, I mean, here we are. I don't know that we're ever going to get 70% or
Mhm.
whatever we need for herd immunity. I also think that as a society, we dropped the ball with a lot of our push on vaccinations because it feels to me like the government and public health put all their eggs in like the minority basket, and they tried to push like black celebrities on us and people of color, when in actuality, a lot of these anti-vaxxers is white folks. And if you look at, like, statistically speaking, even if every black person in America would have gotten vaccinated, we still wouldn't have reached herd immunity anyway. It was actually those white folks who have been against vaccines for generations already who were refusing and who still continue to refuse. But instead of making campaigns to get those folks, you aimed your campaigns at BIPOC folks and black folks. And now we're hovering around 30% and we can't get over that hump. So
Mm.
it is what it is. Welcome to America. It's going to be what it's going to be. So I would just tell people, do what you need to do to make yourself
Feel
feel
comfortable.
safe. But what I also want to ask you, Julia, is how do you feel about kids getting vaccinated? I keep seeing like they keep letting younger and younger people. I think here in Seattle, you could be 12 years old now
Mhm.
and or in Washington and get your vaccine. How do you feel about vaccines for kids?
Ooh, that is I think if it's good for one, it could be good for all. But I think My opinion stands firm on the same thing. Every American should make the choice for themselves on if they feel that something is safe. And so if you are the parent and or legal guardian of a child and you feel it necessary to get your child vaccinated and you feel like that is the safest thing, then by all means take those necessary steps to do so. If you feel that it's not, then take the necessary steps to not do that. So I'm not for or against it. I'm just pro-choice in this, and I think that parents and guardians have the opportunity to make the best sound decision for their child.
I agree. I hope that it
Was
stays
that a
that way.
politically correct answer? That's really how I feel. I
That
mean,
was a
I'm
very,
not.
very politically correct answer. You actually took the choice to not give us an answer at all. But
I'm
I mean,
not. You know what it is? Because I don't care if you get vaccinated or not, right? I'm happy that I'm vaccinated, and I feel comfortable about it. I'm not an advocate to be like, go get vaccinated, but I'm also not a person who's going to vaccine shame you, right?
right.
So I think everyone should just do what they feel comfortable with.
I agree with that. I just don't want the pressure. I mean,
Yeah.
I have little kids at home. I don't feel like kids need to be getting vaccinated. If you look at the numbers, statistically speaking, they're not really at any crazy level of risk with
Right.
COVID. Like the idea of trying to like take these vaccines younger and younger, it just doesn't really make sense to me. But like you, I do believe in choice, and I think that everybody should be able to have the ability to make that choice for themselves and for their families.
Well, it's interesting that you say that they're low risk because they still can catch COVID. I mean, even as early as this morning, a friend of mine told me that her daughter and all the kids caught COVID and even the baby, right? And so I'm thinking, wow, you guys got 6 kids and everybody in the house has COVID. So I guess it's the question of, can your child die from COVID? Is
And
your
that's
child
what I'm getting at. Like it's
right? Is it
minuscule,
just
like the percentage, the death rate amongst kids, and I'm talking about like elementary school age kids here. It's,
mhm, mhm.
I believe the last time I seen it, I believe it was under 1%.
But then we're talking about them being spreaders, right? So are they getting it and then coming home and then infecting the elders in their households, right? Are they passing it along to other people? So from that perspective, I could argue either side. Again, I just think it's necessary for a parent who may not get their child vaccinated at all and make that decision for their child. And, again, just make those considerations, right?
I agree. I agree. I
Yeah.
think they need to get adults. Like you can't get the adults to take it. Let's not try to go to the schools and then force it on the children. If all the adults had it, the kids would be fine. But again, to each his own.
To each his own, but again, fully vaccinated people, you are free to go outside and roam the earth. Once
Very
again, you
true.
don't have to wear your mask. You don't have to social distance. Go out and be carefree. Live your best life according to the CDC.
I'm gonna have to go see what's
I
up with
think
these
the idea
Mariners.
I think the idea of passport vaccine or vaccine passports is going to come back around. And I wonder if people are going to start carding you to see if you are really vaccinated.
I hope
It'll be
not.
interesting. It will be interesting. Speaking of getting back to normal and incentive programs, there is a restaurant group um, in Arizona that is taking on a new initiative, adding it to their repertoire to entice people to get back to work. So, how about free tuition? And so, let's see what they're doing to attract new employees.
It's a problem across the country as customers head back to bars and restaurants. Many of them don't have enough staff.
Rose Prescott Valley, it might hire 30 to 50 people. And right now we're posting a job and we might get one person show up.
Skylar Reeves is owner of Vivoli Hospitality Group in Prescott, 5 restaurants working on a 6th. And to attract more employees, they are now offering full-time staff tuition reimbursement at Yavapai College.
You go get a job because you want to get paid. You want a paycheck. You want something that's going to better your life in maybe more ways than one. Maybe you don't want to be a server or a cook for the rest of your life, but you're going to do it while you're in college, and we can make that a better situation for the employees.
Mike, I've been the head of this organization and this industry for 19 years. I've never seen it this bad.
Steve Chukri is president and CEO of the Arizona Restaurant Association.
We just had a board meeting last week, Mike, and I've got a great board of diverse backgrounds, meaning quick service to fine dining, right? And they're pulling their hair out. They're saying, we can't do this. We're getting signing bonuses for people, which is never heard of in the restaurant industry.
Selfishly for the company, we want to attract more employees, but also, for the hundreds of people that have worked for me through the years, we want to offer something that they can sort of take with them forever too.
Skylar, of course, hoping he can retain the talent he hires, but hopes free tuition entices a new set of employees.
And so I think that some of those folks will find their path with our company for many years. But the folks that are here for a year, 2 years, or 3 years, I just hope that all those people see that we're making an effort to reinvest in them. And hopefully they see some value in that.
Okay, so we're talking about reimagining and rebuilding the restaurant industry. This is what some people are doing. This organization, this guy Skylar Reeves, he's the founder of Vively Hospitality Group. They own 5 different restaurants, opening a 6th one in Prescott, Arizona. And so this is a way to get people back to work. Because the labor market really has dropped. People are not wanting to go back to work. So Mike, what's your take on these other incentives, bonuses, tuition, et cetera, et cetera? What do you think?
I would say first and foremost, you could pay people more. I think that would help. There's always that, but I think that, that's really what it comes to.
That.
When you look at a lot of these stories, a lot of these companies that got these signs because they're complaining that people rather be on unemployment than go to work. Well, people are taking unemployment because they're making more money being unemployed with this unemployment than they are going and working at your job. So, you could either pay them more or the market is going to do what the market is going to do. But on the other hand, I do like the idea for this specific situation. He's working in a restaurant. I've seen him speak at length, even longer than the clip that we have, where he said that even before COVID hit, he was already cycling through employees pretty frequently. So he didn't have a high retention rate. So if he's looking at his business saying, I already have a terrible retention rate because people cycle through here, then maybe it is good to let those people come in, get some education, and then be ready to move on and take a step up in life. But I don't think that this addresses the overall problem that we're seeing around this country in major cities where people aren't making living wages at their jobs. And that's a bigger issue that really needs to be addressed. And there is no fancy gimmick that you're going to put forth that's going to put food on the table, man. Because look, babies can't eat books. That college tuition is nice, but if people's at home starving, it don't help. So I like what he's doing in his specific situation, but I do think that we have a larger issue in our nation with with wages being stagnant for so long that at some point we're going to have to address, or this whole thing is going to fall apart.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's important for us to remember the root issue, right? And the root issue is that people who have those blue collar jobs just don't make enough to have a living wage and do the things that they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. And so if we're thinking about, somebody who's in the restaurant industry and maybe this college tuition reimbursement program being something to attract employees, I think we're missing the mark because it only targets such a small population of folks. What if I'm not a person that wants to go to college, right? So there are other companies that offer similar programs. It seems like this is something that is maybe going to work for them. So more kudos to that. I guess more is more. But to your point, why not just offer people higher wages? So what if I'm making $15 an hour in my unemployment benefits to sit at home and then take on odd jobs or learn and teach myself how to be a better entrepreneur, I'm absolutely going to do that. And so I think that the difficulty we're going to see in getting people to return to work and getting off unemployment is that, one, if I'm not making more to get up and go hustle at this job, then I'm happier to just stay home and figure it out, right? And I think the misconception is that people are just sitting at home being lazy. I think a lot of people are collecting the unemployment benefits and saying, okay, how can I rebuild and reimagine what I really want to do with my life? I hate being at this 9 to 5 job. I hate going into that cubicle. I don't want to have this busy, hectic commute. And I actually really like working from home and doing something that I'm more passionate about. So I think we have to really reimagine what the workplace is going to look like to give people a little bit more time to be at home, spend time with their families, spend time raising their kids, spend time, doing things that give them a little bit more joy in life than us being crammed in the office for 8 hours a day and having 2 hours or more in commute time. So
Yeah, and also you make a really good point too, because you mentioned time. You mentioned time. And when I hear that and I look at his proposal, he's saying you got to work 32 hours a week and you have to take 12 credits at the school and you have to have higher than a C in your classes. That's a hell of a lot of time. So who is he aiming this at? If you're not already someone that's a student, I don't even see how you can make this work. As a parent, there's no way that I could do 32 hours at the restaurant and then still have time to take 12 credit hours worth of college and still raise my family. So like, this is a really niche kind of crowd that he's going to be able to target, which is probably just people that were trying to go to college anyway. Well, like you said, what if you're not trying to go to college? Like, what about those people? We still need an answer for them folks.
Absolutely. So this doesn't solve our problems by any means. I thought about this and I thought about Joe Biden's American Jobs Plan. And I thought about, that $2 trillion investment that he's trying to make. I hope that we can really start infusing capital into companies that are offering, jobs in fields like construction and things that are doing, they're saying it's going to be rebuilding infrastructure, so roads, bridges, airports, etc. Let's see a little bit more spending there. They're also talking about focusing on like long-term care for, elders and disabilities. So that's like the home health industry. I know right now home health aides here or PCA workers, they only make $15 an hour, and they have to take, a lot of them take public transportation. And a lot of them are in school, do have families, and are trying to like kind of grow in the medical field. And so it would be great if they got more money to do this really difficult work, right? So we'll see. Harry Jefferson said really got comfortable with getting that check. COVID killed people and enabled them. It did to a lot of people. And there's still that PPP money that people are scamming off of. So shout out to the girl who has to pay back that PPP. Did you see that she set up that GoFundMe to have people help pay it back?
Oh,
yeah, she got cashed out that 20K.
I seen a story out of Miami, man. Somebody scammed one of those PPPs. He took $4 million, just kicked it. Was buying cars, going to resorts, and he just got 6 years.
Ooh, that's all bad.
People's crazy.
Well,
I am really interested, though, Julia, to see how our nation will handle this post-COVID rebuild. I mean, I'm downtown Seattle right now. When you're downtown, it's almost unrecognizable. So many businesses are gone, and a lot of that, like restaurants and service industry, a lot of those places that disappear from downtown, if the businesses allow workers to stay remote and we don't have the thousands and thousands of people that were downtown come back to downtown, I don't know what's going to happen to a lot of the industry that was here and a lot of people that had jobs down here. I don't know what happens to those people or where they go, or if the government decides to go the other way on these unemployment benefits. I mean, what's going to
Yeah.
happen to people. So, yeah.
Well, until people stop getting that check, they're not going back to work. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, companies are not going to be able to retain people by any means. But
Well,
again,
with that, I
also,
don't think that people understand, like, when we talk about the poor, I think there's a lot of people with a lot of privilege who think of poor people as just homeless, but that's really not the situation. We have a whole class of working poor Americans, people that have two, sometimes even three jobs. And because wages are so low and the cost of living in their cities has grown exponentially, these people have multiple jobs and they're still not making enough money to make ends meet. Or when we talk about homeless people, a lot of times you might think of like the person you see just sleeping outside, but man, a lot of us end up with like friends that are homeless. Like that homie you have that's couch surfing but doesn't have nowhere to really live, like that's homelessness. So like homelessness and being poor affect a lot more people than you would think, and it's in a lot of our faces more than we probably realize. So I mean, the infrastructure of this country is in a really, really interesting place right now. And I mean, I don't know where we go from here. I don't know how we do it. I sincerely hope that the government has a plan to bring us out of this as a nation.
well, Mike Davis, I again hit the nail right on the head. We are dealing with a lot of issues that, again, we have to get to the root cause of it. So I think there's not one answer. Um, but, as a business owner, I think I see it very difficult to get back to work and get projects back going. So I can only imagine the companies that have more brick and mortar and have to pay for those spaces. So again, it's about the reimagining and figuring out how do we get beyond this point and how do we move forward. But moving forward, do you know who's not out of money right now? Dark side hackers. So Americans have been out of gas on the East Coast. Thousands of gas stations across several southeastern states ran dry this week as drivers waited in long lines for fuel on Thursday. The average price of gas went up to over $3, you guys. So there's Colonial Pipeline Company. They ended up having to pay a ransom to criminal hackers who caused the company to shut down. So let's take a look at the clip. We'll come back and we'll talk about it.
States of emergency declared in Georgia, Florida, Virginia, and North Carolina as pressure at the pump spreads up and down the East Coast.
We have sold 4,000 plus gallons within 3 hours. We're already out of unleaded regular.
We are still feeling that pain at the pump over the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack. This gas station right here just got a delivery overnight, and they're already running out. Only regular is left. Across the street, there is no gas at all. And then there's the price. AAA now says that the national average is more than $3 a gallon.
Everywhere I go, it's bags over the gas pumps.
I don't want to hoard up anything. I'm just trying to make sure I can get to my appointments.
The Secretary of Energy urging Americans to be patient.
Much as there was no cause for, say, hoarding toilet paper at the beginning of the pandemic, there should be no cause for hoarding gasoline. As
the shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline enters its 6th day, fuel price monitor GasBuddy reporting extreme outages in major cities overnight. 60% of stations in Norfolk depleted, 50% in Atlanta, and 35% in Charlotte. Even some airlines are starting to feel the effects. Americans saying it will have to make pit stops for fuel on some long-haul flights to Hawaii and Europe, and cancellations could be next.
So this was so crazy. When I woke up and heard the story, I was like, wait, I don't understand how we're just out of gas. How does that all make sense? So had to do a little bit of research to kind of understand why I was standing in so long lines at the pump. But basically, Bloomberg reported that hackers began to take attack on Colonial Pipeline in a ransomware attack. Okay, you guys know I'm not a techie person, but basically what happened is that they were stealing 100 gigabytes of data as part of a double extortion scheme. So basically they're going to hold the company hostage well, let me back up a little bit. Colonial had to shut down their operations, shut down their systems completely so that they couldn't, to prevent more malicious software from spreading into their kind of infrastructure, right? And so the FBI came back and said that it's a hacking group called the Dark Side. They asked for $5 million in cryptocurrency to release the ransomware. So they paid that bill finally. I think they just finally said, we got to get back. I mean, cybersecurity is a beast. I mean, this is insane. This is a huge, huge, huge attack, right? To think that you can just be taken out by the knees just over the internet.
You absolutely can. And the scary thing about that cryptocurrency is that it's not traceable. So if they got that 5 million in crypto, that's a wrap. They got away with that. That's crazy. It also, man, I'm not even gonna lie though. How much was gas prices on the East Coast before this? Because it hit $3 and people's over there hoarding. Yeah, that's an everyday thing over here.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. See, I have to do 93. So my gas is over $3 anyway. So I never really even think about that. In fact, gas is so high, I don't even look at the price anymore.
I don't either.
I don't look at it. I just fill up my tank and I'm just like, oh, did it go over $50? Did it go over $60? I'm like, dang, how much was gas? Then I look at the receipt and I'm like, dang, that's all I got. But again, you know, I have a really light commute. So I don't use a lot of gas anyway, but I pay 93.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy though, just seeing people again hoarding. Americans, man, we are such a selfish people. As soon as people think there is a shortage on anything, it's like half the people is just gonna go buy as much as they possibly can, and then you're gonna have the other half out here trying to figure out how to monetize it and resell it. You probably have people selling gas on corners out there.
Oh, you already know Hustle Man was outside. You know Hustle Man was outside with the pump, just telling people to come on. I got gas, but I need an extra dub to cut the line. I mean,
we don't got to be like that. It does not have to be that.
I think it's natural. It's almost human nature to overreact, right? So that's why people are like, oh, we're going to be shut down in the house. I mean, even myself, like I was the person who was in Costco who had 2 carts. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was shopping for the pandemic before everyone believed there was a pandemic coming. Like I was the weird person getting like canned food that I never ate. I don't even eat canned food. When coronavirus hit, I really thought like, oh my God, is this something that's going to be like seeping through the windows? Like I bought like a suit, a whole thing. Like I thought it was the end of the world. So, you know, it's just like someone else put in the comments. It's kind of like Y2K. So I'm that person. I'm that person that wants to buy 20 rolls of toilet paper.
If there really is a shortage, it really would be nice if people took what they needed so that it would spread out to the rest. But that's not how we do it here.
I shared it with
that's the way of the world. That's American.
Listen, but it's not like I got it and kept it to myself. Like I went to the neighbors and, you know, I went to drop off little love care packages to my seniors who couldn't go out and get anything. So, you know, I didn't keep it all and hoard it all to myself. And besides, I got to get to my appointments. Leon said, do you really need a trash can full of gas? Yeah, no. I actually didn't get gas. I haven't gotten gas. So hopefully things will normalize post this payment and everything will kind of get back. I think it's crazy that they really had to pay this ransom. What a good hustle. The FBI basically reported that this is a really established group. They have a reputation for being very professional and organized. So they probably said, let's just give them that dough cheese.
Man, I hope they use those hacking powers for good.
Hit up Navinet, please. Hit up that Sally Mae, y'all. Please go hack Sally Mae. Dang, like I feel like we've been asking that for so long. You guys are hacking things we need. Hit up Sally Mae. Hit up Sally Mae.
The power to hack. Why is this who you chose?
Because they knew they were going to get paid.
Yeah, for real though.
Very smart, very sophisticated. Well, look, let's take a quick break, Mike. And when we come back, I want to talk about the new law in Georgia that the Georgia governor passed, revoking citizens' arrest, something good. So we'll be right back.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Welcome back to Clap Back Culture. We are getting ready to clap back at the Georgia governor signing a bill changing arrest laws. We're probably for it. So Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, he signed a bill on Monday repealing the state's citizen arrest law. It's a controversial law that was implemented way back in 1863 amid the Civil War. It gained national attention back in early 2020 following the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, who was the 25-year-old Black man who was killed by a militia of 3 white men who believed he had committed a crime by going into a house that was under construction, allegedly. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bill.
3 men accused of killing 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery go before a federal judge on hate crime charges. A new law based on the case takes effect in Georgia. Gregory McMichael, his son Travis McMichael, and William Roddy Bryan were indicted last month. Tonight, News4JAX I-Team investigator Kelly Wiley explains how a citizen's arrest law has now changed in response to the fatal shooting.
Standing next to the family of Ahmaud Arbery, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed a bill today repealing much of Georgia's citizens' arrest law. The law, originating in 1863, received sharp criticism after video surfaced of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery being chased and shot to death in a South Georgia neighborhood. The 3 men accused of murdering him say they thought Arbery was a burglary suspect. Before the video of Arbery's death became public, Georgia District Attorney George Barnhill cited the citizen's arrest provision in a letter where he said there was insufficient probable cause to arrest the 3 men.
Georgians and Americans in communities across the country watched in horror as the killing of Ahmaud Arbery was brought to light on our phone screens and in TV broadcasts. Ahmaud was the victim of a vigilante style of violence that has no place in our country or in our state.
The bill repeals the portion of the law that allows a private person to arrest someone if that person saw or was told about a crime, or if someone suspected of committing a felony is trying to escape. The only exceptions are for business owners who suspect stealing, licensed detectives, and security guards. Under the bill, deadly force could not be used to detain someone unless it's self-protection, protecting a home, or preventing a forcible felony. Arbery's mother says she's thankful the state of Georgia is moving in this direction.
I think the signing of this bill will make people think before they take actions into their own hands. Unfortunately, I had to lose my son in this manner.
Tomorrow, Gregory McMichael, his son Travis McMichael, and neighbor William Roddy Bryan will go before a federal judge on hate crime charges. Later in the week, a judge will decide if evidence of Arbery's criminal history and mental health record can be brought up at trial set for this October. Defense attorneys for Travis and Gregory McMichael have cited in a motion as many as 10 prior acts they say were done by Arbery. And this is what they're going to argue during the hearings later this week, that they want to be evidence brought during the trial. The state is pushing back, saying that Ahmaud Arbery is not the person on trial. And the defense teams are saying they're really trying to paint a picture of what might have been in Mr. Arbery's head the day of this incident. Reporting in Jacksonville, Kelly Wiley, Channel 4, the local station.
Man, Georgia is getting just as confusing as Florida these days. But again, I guess this is a victory. Bystanders can no longer make an arrest if there is a crime being committed in front of them. What do you think?
Yo, I am so preconditioned to not like Kemp that I was watching this for the first time, just waiting for what I was going to jump on his head about, and it never came. This is actually huge, and you see that law was from 1863. It's pretty clear where our country was at that point in time and who this law was for and what it was about. And I mean, it seems like ever since those times, white men have been trying to take the law into their own hands and carry it out as they see fit. So I think it's huge that they're actually repealing those laws. It's actually going to make the streets a lot safer for all of us. I mean, it is sad that someone had to die for this to happen, but there are so many people that died before and nothing happened. So it's about damn time.
Yeah, I mean, this is such an oxymoron, right? Like, I mean, we're watching, last week we reported on Georgia stripping away voting rights for people. And then now you just have, somebody said Kemp is sus. Exactly. And then on the other hand, it's just like, it's very, very, very confusing. It's hard, I think, to like, are you pandering to get the black vote? Like, what is this? What is this? I mean,
I feel you. He has to have an angle.
What is your
some
angle
somewhere?
So I don't know. I don't get it. I mean,
yeah,
good.
But it is a victory. Well, I'll take the victory. I'll definitely take the victory. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things that are really disgusting. I mean, the fact that the prosecutor that was initially assigned to this case said that there was no that the arrest was justifiable was crazy. And I think it's just interesting that here we are now, and the state had to take over the case, and then they were actually arrested 2 weeks later. I mean, we saw that. So it's
and those last two comments were spot on. That flashed across the screen. I ain't never heard of no black person making no type of citizen's arrest. And yes, Mama Walden, we know who them laws was for. Absolutely. I do want to talk a little bit about the end of that clip, that last soundbite.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me sick to my stomach, man. Why does it always happen that when a black person gets killed and the killer is on trial, somehow it flips to the dead person being on trial? I mean, what does Ahmaud Arbery's, I don't care what his criminal history was. The people that killed him were not the police. They didn't run his name and say, oh, look, he had priors. Nah, they seen a black man and decided to hunt him down and kill him. His priors had nothing to do with that situation. I have no idea why it would even be relevant.
Well, it's victim shaming. It's the characterization of Ahmaud Arbery, trying to dig deep and paint him out to be somebody that he's probably not. I mean, we are not our worst mistakes, right? Like, we are so much better than that. So I think, Catherine Keller's comment is spot on. The victim is not on trial, but yet we see it over and over again. We saw it on the we saw it in the George Floyd trial that he absolutely was on trial more than I think, Derek Chauvin. So we will see how we'll just see how this all figures out.
We have to follow that trial.
I do want to talk about that comment though from Harry Jefferson. Can you imagine a black person making a citizen arrest? Can I just say that that is really not in the culture? Like, this is so against the culture. We are not, I think we are just so conditioned to not get in other people's business, like over and over again. Everyone's like, mind your business, mind your business. If I see somebody committing, matter of fact, I saw somebody committing a crime this morning. I saw somebody smashing a windshield on my way back to the house this morning from the gym. And I literally looked and was like, oh my God, I hope we don't catch eye contact because I don't want him to know that I saw him smashing this window. That was my thought. It wasn't like call 911, stop and arrest him. No, it absolutely wasn't. I'm like, it ain't my business. I hope they got some cameras because it ain't my business and I don't want to be involved. Do you think that is, I mean, is that accurate?
I think that's very accurate. I think when those laws, I mean, obviously when they came into place, they were to police the Black community, literally. So it gave white men the authority to be able to police the Black people. It was never for Black people to police anyone. We were on the business end of that. And culturally, as a people, that's always what's been handed down to us. And if you look at, I mean, you could look at the date and think, wow, that was a long time ago, but really, it's not too many generations ago. I mean, my great grandma that just died a few years ago picked cotton on a farm in Texas. Like, she was supposed to be the first person in our family to not go to the fields, and she ended up there. So, like, I know her. I grew up with her. My kids know her. So we're not that far removed from this history. So when you say like the whole mind your business thing, yeah, because that's what's been passed down to us from generation to generation. And we're not too far away from those generations. So I think that's really what it is. I wish that a lot of those laws from that time, I mean, our laws don't have expiration dates. So somebody writes that law and it just ends up there forever. And it just makes no sense.
Can I also offer that it's one thing to see somebody committing a crime and another thing to step in when somebody is being hurt and or threatened. Now, if I'm somewhere and there is an unsafe situation and I feel as if I need to step in, I'm not going to go in to make a citizen's arrest, but I am going to definitely see if to ensure someone's safety, if possible. If I can do, if there is, for example, a domestic violence situation, I may step in and say, excuse me, are you okay? Is everything okay here? And try to get the attention and kind of move things about. So I'm not saying I'm not going to get myself involved and only mind my business. But what I'm saying is if I see somebody stealing out the Walmart, I'm not going to jump in there and be like, hey, put that toilet paper back.
Right.
I'm not
a victimless crime. I think that's
it's
what
a
we're getting at.
victimless crime.
Man, when I was 16, I worked at Nike Town. I seen people commit crimes all the time, but like, y'all are stealing from Nike. Like, I don't pledge to Nike. Like, they're fine. Steal those t-shirts. Like, why would I put myself in danger for this multi-billion-dollar corporation to protect them from losing $20 in merchandise? That to me is ridiculous.
What are you going to put yourself in? Like, what are you going to step in front of? What's a situation?
Life and death. If I see somebody, like, if we're in a situation where it's like physical harm, I'm going to intervene. But like, if I see somebody taking something from the store, I might not. If it's a black-owned store, I probably will. So, there's a lot of nuance.
And you know why I'm not going it for a victimless crime, and we got to wrap it up. But for a victimless crime, the reason I'm not going to call the police is because I don't trust the police interaction with that person following that.
Totally agree.
That's why. And I don't want to be the person who called 911 and said, hey, I think I saw this guy smashing somebody's windshield. He could have been smashing his own windshield, right? He could have been I don't know what he was doing, but it wasn't my business.
Yo, I've had my own property stolen. Like, I've had people break into my own car and I didn't call the police. I didn't want the police coming to my house. Like, nah, like I'm like, for real, only time I think I've really called the police somebody had broke into my car and my gun was in my car and they stole it and it was registered to me. So like I had to report that because if they did a crime with it, it comes back on me. But times that people just like broke in my car and stole, like, I'm not calling the police for that. For what?
I'm not even.
I also don't want to see the next person go to jail. I don't assume that everybody that commits a crime is a criminal. If somebody took something from me because they was hungry, I'd rather just let them go eat than me ruining their life over a couple $100 worth of stuff. I don't care about stuff on that level.
I think we are blessed to be in a position of privilege where we can even feel like that, right? That if somebody takes something from me, that they probably needed it more, right? So I remember these kids stole a car and they jumped out of the moving car and that moving car hit my car in front of the house. Well, it was this whole ordeal because it was a police chase. And so the police were already involved. And so then they asked me, did I want to press charges? And I'm like, these are kids. This is a 14, 15, and 18-year-old kid. I don't care that they hit my car. My car took so much money to get fixed, but they don't have no insurance. They don't have no money. They don't have no license. And their mama and daddy don't have no money. So I'm good at the end of the day.
I think that we value life more than we value property. But
for sure,
in America, that is a polarizing idea.
Well, look, you guys, this was a great show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Clapback Culture this Thursday. We hope we brought you some good clapback. We appreciate you guys always coming through to show love and show support. Mike Davis, where can they find you after this?
You can find me at the South Seattle Emerald. Wherever the Emerald is, you're going to find your boy. You could also find me on Twitter at Real M Davis. And I got to give a shout out to Converge, man. Y'all, get you one of these.
Yeah, pull up, go buy some merch. We definitely got to drop a merch link. We're still putting together our t-shirt thing. We're going to offer a giveaway for that, but please pull up, find me on Instagram and or Twitter at Treasure of JULES. You know what it is. And again, we appreciate you watching. Tune in to everything that is Converge Media. And this is Clapback Culture. We'll see you next week. Peace.